Today with Staying Uncomfortable, I have the pleasure to interview the one and only Brenden. Brenden is the CEO of a Planet Protein company, which is based out of Fort Lauderdale. There's a story behind how Brenden and I connected. So Brenden has this account on Instagram called Planet Protein, and I've been kind of following a little bit of protein industry because of my background being with RX Bar. So I've been doing a lot of research about protein companies. And I was literally going to reach out to Brenden through Instagram, and luckily he reached out to me. And ever since then, it's just been a connection between Twinkies, as we are literally dressed pretty much very similar, black jeans top. And honestly, one of the things that I want to start off by saying is that you're literally one click away from connecting to somebody. And I am so honored and blessed to have Brenden on the show. And especially after hearing his story from where he was in his journey and how he got to where he is today, I cannot wait for you guys to actually really, really hear this part of the story and get the value out of staying uncomfortable as well. So Brenden, thank you so much for being here.
My man, appreciate you.
Appreciate you taking the time to being here as well. So first of all, I want to start off with, what are you doing nowadays, first of all?
So like you said, Planet Protein, this is my full-time job. Per se. I mean, it's not really a job. It's more of traveling around and meeting new people, having fun, promoting the business, marketing on Instagram, as you know. and it's funny that you said that, the one click away. It's just so crazy. We've met so many people through Instagram.
Really?
Like-minded, obviously. And it's the way of the future for sure, which is also my slogan. So if you can see that. We're having fun with it, man. We're having fun with it. We're just building the brand and focusing on, more products and running the business.
So let me ask you this. First of all, congratulations on starting your company.
Yeah,
I think it takes a lot for someone to actually go ahead and say, you know what, I'm going to go start my own company. Because a lot of time there's there's people that talk about it. They keep talking about it, and here you're actually doing it. So first of all, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I have a question. Based on our conversation, getting to know each other a little bit before we got onto this interview, you were doing insurance.
Yes.
So for the audience who's watching this, right, how does one literally go from selling an insurance to now running a company which is backed by two of the biggest athletes, one from NBA and the other one from NFL, which is Wilson Chandler and Davian Fuller? Take us through your journey. Like, how did all this happen, man?
So I was actually in out of different industries. I did manual labor from siding and windows to roof shingles, getting on the roof, running on top of the ridge, almost falling off. Actually did fall off one time. We'll save that for the next episode. But, then I sold insurance for about 3 years.
Okay.
I found myself sitting in the office just kind of depressed.
What kind of insurance, if you don't mind me asking?
P&C, so that's home, automobile,
commercial
lines, stuff like that. So one day I went into my boss's office. I said, hey, I can't do this anymore. For my own sanity, I just can't, So I quit that day. I apologize for not putting in the 2 weeks, but I was losing my mind. So
you weren't happy with what you were doing?
I was very unhappy. It was killing me.
So selling insurance.
Yeah.
And then transitioning into running your own company. Before we even go into it, you and I were talking about you literally changed your diet overnight.
Overnight, literally. And I had no idea what to do. I was clueless. So, you want me to do the story?
I was shocked because when we talked about this, you literally said that you watched 2 documentaries, and next day in the morning you said, fuck it, I'm going to be vegan.
That's exactly what I said too. Fuck it, I'm going to be vegan.
What went through your mind? What were the 2 documentaries that you watched? And I think if you can elaborate a little bit more about that.
Yeah, sure.
I think that would really help us.
Yeah, so I watched, Cowspiracy and Vegucated were the 2 documentaries I watched on Netflix. Mm-hmm. It was kind of random. I had some mutual friends who were like, hey, check this out. Yeah, why not, At the time, I wasn't as open-minded as I am today. But I'm glad I said, yeah, sure, I'll check it out. Watched those, so about 4 hours straight. Okay. Woke up the next morning, and I didn't know if it was a dream. I didn't know what it was, but I was like, man, I'm done. I'm going to go vegan, plant-based, changed my lifestyle, changed my diet, and I really didn't know what the hell I was doing. It was mostly beans and rice for about 2 weeks because I just didn't know. You know, I didn't have the education. But as you know, as an entrepreneur, research, Google, iPhone, you know. So I picked it up. Hey, well, I can create a veggie burger. Started, you know, getting creative in the kitchen, figuring things out. So soon after, I would say probably about 2-3 months after, I made that transition overnight. I was at the point where, man, I really know what I'm doing. You know, I get nutrients here. There's like 100 different veggies I've never even heard of. There's all these fruits, and it's crazy. So it really opened up my mind, expanded my consciousness. My mental is just the clarity is just through the roof.
So now you're on a show called Staying Uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And if you connect the dots, right? Like if you think about it, like if you didn't consider even watching this documentary, do you think you would be here today?
I would have never met you. There's no way. Because one, I wasn't a big Instagram guy, you know, because I was afraid. I was afraid of what people would think of me on Instagram. You know, my photo is, do I have a pimple? You know, do I have anything? Mm-hmm. I would just kind of like hide, you know, behind the bushes. Naturally, I'm more of an introvert, I would say, but I've pushed myself to do things out of my comfort zone. So I stayed uncomfortable through this whole process and kind of just, you know, evolved from there.
As an entrepreneur, you know, you probably, you know, I go through phases in my life where I'm like, I'm on top of the world, or in the corner crying and be like, what am I doing? Mm-hmm. Or I'm going bankrupt, right? Trying to figure life out. And I'm sure you can relate to this as well. And at age of 28, you know, the risk that you're taking and where you come from in terms of your background and everything, like, what drives you to do what you want? Like, why are you really trying to build this brand? And like, what's your purpose behind this?
We're offering a complete snack, a complete meal replacement. Somebody to pick this bar up, say, hey, this is nutrient dense. It gives me what I need. It'll get me through the next couple hours of our meeting, or, you know, I got the baby in my shoulder, so it gives you something, some substance. I'm using this company to help people really transition into a better eating habit. That's the main, you know, objective here. But at the same time, I would be lying if I said that, hey, I don't want, you know, some profits out of this company. Mm-hmm. We're going to use that to evolve the business, one. But two, this is more of a vehicle to get to my next step in life, you know, the things that I want to do. So then, you know, that could be anything from going to Bali and going on yoga retreats and bringing that back to the United States and offering that to people, that, you know, new lifestyle. So there's a lot of reasons that I started the company, but it's, you know, really to just get people to pick it up. Hey, this tastes good. I can eat better on the go. And then hopefully from there they'll kind of evolve, you know, mentally and physically as well.
I want to circle back to your personal story a little bit, right? A lot of times what people see on social media across everything else is all the good stuff. Nobody talks about the bad stuff. Nobody wants to talk about you crying or the depression or the drug abuse or any of that stuff that, you know, as humans that we have the negative side of it, right?
Sure.
And throughout your journey, have you encountered anything with your personal relationship, with your family, friends? You know, for me, the whole entire time while I was trying to figure out what I wanted to accomplish in life and do, I've gone through depression very, very high level where, you know, I've recorded a video of myself literally crying and sobbing because I never want to go back to that person ever again.
Yep.
And I am the solo person to blame for that person to get to that level. And from your journey, have you had any experience, and how do you overcome that, right?
You know, that's admirable first that you took that video. That's crazy. I mean, who does that? You know? I
mean, it's just to remind myself that I never want to go back to that level, man.
Sure.
It's the rock bottom I ever had. Like, it was the rock bottom in my life.
Mm-hmm. I feel you 100%. I was in similar situations, and drug abuse, you know, that was a big thing. You know, I really didn't tap into like hardcore drugs or anything like that, but it was to the state of depression that I would look forward to playing Call of Duty Zombies every night. I'm going to get off work, I'm going to go home, play Call of Duty, smoke one, and just sit there for 3 hours and just, you know, bake away and kill zombies. So that's where I was in my mental, and it was just not healthy. Thanks to that documentary, it kind of changed some things, as we spoke. But yeah, it's there's a really bad side, and I'd be lying to you if I'd said that I wasn't fighting depression any longer. It's still there, but it's just so much easier with the Curt mindset. Eat healthier, hit the gym, get out there, talk to people, stay uncomfortable, and then hey, those side effects just kind of wear away.
We talk about depression, talk about staying uncomfortable and trying new things. One of the things that I understand is that people are scared to do something new.
Yes.
Like they're very, very scared, right? And here's you, Brenden, who's 28 years old, started this company called Planet Protein, and you have an NBA player.
Yes.
Has in your company, right? And
Yep.
then you have a person who plays for Atlanta Falcons as in your company as well. Like, did you ever plan this out? Like, did you create a business plan? Did you plan this out that I'm going to go after this NBA person, I'm going to go after this guy in NFL? Like,
No, there was, okay, there's some mental planning involved, but for me to sit there and write everything down, hey, this is happening this day and have a set calendar, honestly, no, there's not much of that. It's more of, hey, take action, do. I get a lot of people that come to me and say, hey, how did you do this? Hey, man, you pull out your iPhone, and it's like Google, resources, networking, and that's really how I've gotten this far is just tapping into different resources and networks. And you'll be very surprised to find that there's so many people on your side.
100%.
You show that genuine self, and people just, they vote for you, man. They're on your team. So it helped me out a lot, to have people on my side. And once I found that, and I was like, oh, man, people are cheering me on? What? It just takes you to another level. The motivation doesn't stop. And then you find yourself thinking that, hey, you can do anything. I mean, you can accomplish anything.
Anything.
Obviously, you're a big LeBron fan, I know, and I'll never, be 6'8", 250, dunking on people every night, but
that's just something in DNA, man.
If you want to be on the court next to him, find your way to the squeegee or the referee or anything. Anything's possible.
I concur 110%. Like when you put your mind to it, I think anything is possible. And I listen to a lot of motivational talk from like E.T., Les Brown, and all of these guys. Well, there's one thing that I've noticed that all these guys talk about is that as humans, we've been given power of one thing, and that is the power of imagination.
Yes.
As long as you imagine something, as long as you put your effort and your energy towards that imagination, you are so capable of accomplish anything you want.
I agree.
Like,
I totally agree.
People that, people kind of make fun of me sometimes because they'll come into my house and they'll see this and they'll go into my bathroom and they'll see my vision board and all that stuff. But, from my point of view, I breathe this, I smell this every single time. So it constantly reminds me that there's a purpose, there's a goal in life, and that's my dream. And I just want people to know that, like, Brenden, you didn't know how to make a protein bar.
No.
You weren't even vegan.
No.
And now you're running a company that is going to be one of the biggest company in protein bar category.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's just you have to dive in and take action, get the work done every day. Don't sit there and say, hey, October 30th, we're going to do this. What are you going to do tomorrow? What are you going to do today? Live in the moment, get things done, and then you'll see yourself in a year and a half, which is where we're at. You'll be somewhere. And then where am I going to be in, 3 years from now? Don't worry about that. Worry about the now, live in the present, and then the work will speak for itself.
So in your journey, what were some of the most uncomfortable things that you can recall, right, when you started off with the Planet Protein and you're like, man, like I don't want to do this, but I know you got to do it in order to move forward.
Well, I guess it would be more of, okay, there's probably two things. One would be going vegan, which a lot of men don't, because I think the stat is like 90% women are vegan now.
But didn't Kyrie Irving?
Kyrie Irving just went vegan. Damian Lillard, Wilson Chandler's obviously vegan. So a lot of people are seeing the transition, what it does to your body, that helps recovery, and a lot of these athletes, mainstream athletes, are picking up this lifestyle and this diet, and they're feeling good about it. So that's really cool to see, and that helps break that mold, because there's a stigma where it's, hey, if you're vegan, you're a blonde girl, hippie girl that's, just living this lifestyle. And to me, anybody can do it. So I go into this, hey, breaking that stigma, a masculine guy, served in the Marine Corps for 5 years. If I can do it, and I can still look big and strong and have physique, then anybody can, It's just the knowledge, the information, researching and finding out, hey, what do I need to eat to maintain this much protein or this many carbs? And so it's one thing I was uncomfortable with in the beginning of that vegan lifestyle transition was probably breaking that mold. So,
how do you feel now after?
The energy's through the roof. It's through the roof. And I drink coffee sometimes, but if I don't have it, I'm good. I don't need it. A lot of water. It's just getting those the right nutrients in your body. You feel so good.
So, one of the questions I always ask to anybody that sits in this comfy couch is like, what do you do for fun? And the answer I usually get is, I love what I do. So, like, the answer for you is like, I love working on Planet Protein 24/7. But instead of that, like, what do you do to like relax? Like, what do you do to like wind down? Right? Because you got to have balance, right? For
sure. No, I agree. I think when entrepreneurs tell you, hey, you have to work X amount of hours per day, I think that's kind of a stretch, because you need that recovery time for your mental. You need to sit at home, feel comfortable, read a book, meditate. I'm huge on meditation, big on yoga. Really just getting to know myself is what recharges my batteries, per se. That's about it.
And then, one of the follow-up questions that I love to know is, I only read like business books. I am not a big fan of like reading, stories, but it's always been business book, and I think there's a lot of value in those business book. And I'm not sure, do you have like one of the books that you can say that, I read that book and it connected with me like crystal clear on every single thing that I was trying to achieve?
Yeah, for sure. I would say Master Key System by Charles F. Hannell, which is a personal development book. So it's not really business, but the more you work on yourself, the more comfortable you are in your own skin, and then you're more open-minded to like reach out to new resources and be more business savvy as you kind of dig further. So that was one of my favorite books. A good friend of mine referred that to me, and it worked out great. That was actually in the beginning of my journey as well, so it went hand in hand with the transition.
Timing is everything as well, right? Essence.
As you know, and we met on Instagram. And here we are, 3 weeks later?
Yeah.
Sitting on the same couch, dressed in the same part. It's crazy. So,
and then one thing I wanted to ask you, the premises of the show is about staying comfortable.
Yeah.
And the reason staying comfortable, I personally believe that it expands your horizon. It makes you want to try new things. And what connects people in today's world is experience. And when you learn and when you get really good experience about XYZ, you're able to experience more life, right? And one thing I'd love to know, from you for our audience is that, there's somebody who might be going through depression. There's somebody who might be going through drug abuse. Somebody might be really, really motivated about starting a business, right? But they just don't know anything, right? What's that one message that you want to leave for our audience that, doesn't matter what situation they might be in, but it's Brenden's message to this world, right? It's like, this is my purpose.
Stay real, stay true to yourself, and honestly, if it hurts somebody's feelings and you're telling them the truth, run with it. Don't ever lie to make somebody feel comfortable. Because you know what? Then they're never going to get out of their comfort zone, and they're going to stay comfortable instead of uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's all about, and I'll give you an example real quick. My girlfriend and I, Carly, we went out to a vegan restaurant, local place in Florida, and we've never been there, you know. So we stopped in, and it was unsanitary. I mean, it was to the point. I'm not a picky guy. I mean, I served in the Marine Corps, I slept on rocks, you know, I slept in the desert, ate MREs, stuff like that. So I'm not really picky, but it was to the point where, man, we were uncomfortable. We're like, we can't eat here. There's no way, you know. So I went up to the manager and I approached him respectfully, you know, with kindness, and said, "Hey, sir, we don't feel comfortable. You know, there's certain dishes that we can see stacked," and he lost it. You know, he lost it on me, and it was more of he felt probably attacked, but it was, hey man, me doing that, who knows? Maybe now they're up to code and everything's clean. Maybe they're bettering themselves. So if you can have an impact on someone like that, and just go to them and be real with kindness, of course, you know, respect. I mean, that's the one thing that I make sure that I live by every single day. Living in the moment and staying real.
Perfect. Well, speaking of staying in the moment and keeping it real, you know, you already are making a mark on this world, man. Like, I am so humbled and so honored that I have had time and privilege to get to know you and be able to try this product and be able to share this with the world that's going to be watching this. And, you know, I would love for you to leave a mark on this amazing wall that I have on the back.
I'm honored. I'm honored, man. That'd be great.
For sure, man. Thank you so much for being on the show, man.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
There you go.
Thanks, sir.
Perfect.